Laser sights enhance and maintain your accuracy in a time of crisis, preventing tunnel vision and allowing quick target acquisition in awkward shooting positions. Crimson Trace, making laser sight standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, it's a new book teaching AR fundamentals, why it's a great time to buy a laser, your range reports, and more. Call in now, 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now here's Sir Thomas.
Well, thank you for the, I don't know, it's not coronation exactly, but for the knighthood, I guess. Tom Gresham here, it's Gun Talk. We're going to be talking about guns and shooting and ammo and scopes and certainly politics and your rights and restrictions on them and people who are out to take away your rights and those who write incredibly stupid, uninformed, ignorant articles about guns and gun owners and proclaim themselves to be journalists without doing a lick of research, without getting off their lazy butts and finding out what is rather than going, what if, oh my gosh. If we let guns on the university campuses, what will happen? Oh, what if this and what? Hey, stupid, stop. How about you just go find out what is? It's like sitting over there and two guys fighting about, how tall is that doorway? Why don't you just go get a tape measure and measure it? What you'd find if you actually got off your rear end and looked, you'd find that many states have they've removed the prohibitions on carrying guns on college campuses, in public schools. Years ago, years of data, years of track record. No need to wonder what if. Just ask what has happened. What has been the result of this? How many mass shootings, accidental shootings, etc. have happened? And you'll find the answer is none. Basically, the aftermath, and yeah, there might be a thing with, as you have, and look, let's be realistic. If you have more people carrying, you're going to have an occasional AD or an ND, accidental discharge, negligent discharge, and we'll even talk about the goofballs out there because there are the occasional ones, and we have to ever be increasing our education program. We are the good guys and gals. We are the ones who do gun safety training. Gun banners, who have decided that gun control is a bad term, it doesn't make them enough money, have changed their names to gun safety groups. They're not gun safety groups. Bloomberg's groups are not gun safety groups. They don't teach gun safety. They don't teach safe storage of guns. They don't teach safe use of guns. Their idea of gun safety is gun bans. And boy, are they ever worked up right now. Because we have things moving through Congress to restore gun rights to veterans, for instance. And I am on their mailing list, and I get mails from them, emails 2, 3, 4 times a day. We must stop this. They're going to put guns in the hands of mental incompetents. No, that's not what's going on. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Oh, by the way, you probably want to call us right now, and here's why. Let me give that number out, 866-TALK-GUN. I'll just dial Tom Talk Gun because our next guest is going to be Ted Nugent, be coming up in just a few minutes. And Ted said, look, tell everybody they can call in if they have questions, they want to talk about guns, pretty much anything you want to talk about, Ted's good with it. So you need to call right now if you want to be part of that conversation. 866-TALK-GUN. We'll be right back with the Motor City Madman himself, Ted Nugent. I'm Tom Gresham, and this is Gun Talk.
Responsible owners control access to their firearms, even when they may need them in a hurry. Liberty Safe, the nation's leader in gun safes, offers 6 models of handgun vaults. Strong, simple to use, open with a key or fingerprint. Put your handgun in the compact vault, lock it away until you need it. Then it's in your hand almost instantly. Pick the Liberty Safe handgun vault that's right for you. LibertySafeHD.com.
In the field or on the range, you need a trigger you can trust. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. A Timney trigger could mean the difference between a great shot and a miss. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. To order, go to timneytriggers.com. That's TIMNEY triggers.com.
If you're like me, you don't have money to burn, but you still want to buy guns, ammo, and accessories. That's why we created Gun Dealio. That's a free, yes, a free smartphone app. Just download it and start getting the deals. Could be discounts, offers of free magazines for your gun, or you could be the first to hear about new stuff from gun makers. Here's how it works. With Gun Dealio on your phone, you get alerts when you enter a gun store. Special deals, you know. You don't have to do a thing. It'll do a lot of other cool things, like let you watch gun videos and listen to Gun Talk podcast. Plus, check it anytime for hundreds of deals and offers. Getting more while spending less. Smart, huh? Gun Dealio. Made in America. Gluten-free. At the App Store and Google Play or GunDealio.com.
Smith & Wesson brings 10 years of development to your holster with the new enhanced M&P M2.0 semi-auto pistol. In 9, 40, and 45 with a crisp and lighter trigger pull, the M2.0 has aggressive texture for a great grip, extended stainless steel chassis for rigidity, and 4 palm swell grip inserts for a perfect fit. The remarkable M&P, even better in version 2.0. See it at smith-wesson.com.
All right, back with you, 866-TALK-GUN, or just dial Tom Talk Gun, because that's what we do. That's who I am. I'm Tom. We're going to talk about guns around here. It is always a pleasure to welcome my friend Ted Nugent on the show. Of course, you know Ted as a musician, as an activist, as an NRA board member, as an outspoken proponent of gun ownership and hunting. Ted, how you doing, partner?
I'm doing so good it's stupid, Tom. Happy real springtime in America to you.
Well, you're right there in the heart of Texas, and one of the things we've been talking about a good bit. Well, I want to hold on to it for just a minute, but I'm not going to let you go. Don't let me do this without asking you about the pig situation down there. But first of all, tell me what you've been shooting. What have you been doing?
You know, I'm lucky, Tom. I manipulated my American dream by the time I graduated from high school. I was raised in a hunting, shooting family, and my dad was a drill sergeant in World War II in the U.S. Army. And so we taught all us kids to aim small, miss small, and respect guns, and never point them towards anything you're not willing to destroy, and all the important stuff. So I was always enthusiastic, shall we say, about the ballistic party that's available to us via the Second Amendment. So I use my guns every day. I carry a Glock Model 20, and now I'm playing around with a brand-new custom Model 40 in the long slide 10-millimeter, and I do a lot of hunting with that. I operate our Spirit Wild Ranch here in Texas. I just sighted in a brand new Savage 338 Federal, which is fascinating, with a new laser rangefinder Bushnell scope. So I literally, Tom, the reason you hear my voice so buoyant, so energized, is because I've always got powder residue all around my being. I
like it. Ted Nugent is you are ballistically buoyant. I love that.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Now, obviously, it's a weird time from a politics standpoint because we have at the same time some good things happening. We've rolled back the Social Security Administration listing people who, basically sending names to the FBI to put them on the can't buy a gun for the rest of your life list.
Hallelujah.
Now we have a bill starting to go through Congress to do the same thing, to restore rights to 176,000 veterans who've been stripped of their gun rights. But at the same time, we have things like the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals saying that, I'm sorry, the Second Amendment does not apply to the AR-15 because that is a weapon of war. And we have California usurping the rights and stomping on the rights of gun owners. So there's good news and there's bad news. So in your 50,000-foot Ted Nugent view, how do you see where we are?
Well, we always celebrate the good, and the worst day in America is better than the best day anywhere else in the world. Let's always look to the heavens and thank God for our God-given individual rights. But you're right. My dear friends in California and Massachusetts and Maryland and New York and New Jersey, Tom, here it is 2017, and they cannot keep and bear arms. I don't care how anybody wants to debate that or argue about that. If you can't keep a gun on your person loaded in your everyday activities, you have no Second Amendment right. So the overview is that if you're not a member of the National Rifle Association, Nancy Pelosi would like to thank you for helping the gun grabbers. And quite honestly, Tom, it's that simple.
It really is, and I try to explain to people, and we know, you and I have been around this a long time. People say, yeah, but the NRA this. I say, yeah, I get it. I understand. Any one of us could sit here and say, well, there are things that the NRA did or didn't do that I didn't either understand or I took issue with. That doesn't negate the overall good and the total. I mean, and I talk about a total necessity for anybody who is a gun owner to belong. I have an idea. I was talking to Jim, our producer here. We said, you know what we ought to do is we're always telling people, look, take somebody out shooting, invite somebody to go to the range. My idea is every single time you take somebody to the range, you introduce them to shooting, you at that point give them an NRA membership. You basically get them started. What do you think?
Well, I've been raising that hell for many, many years. I've always spoke at the annual convention of the NRA annual meetings, and that's the thrust of my presentation, and that includes on rock and roll radio and from the stage for over 7,000 concerts, and literally in all my activities, I have anywhere between 10 million and 35 million Facebookers, and that's my battle cry, that it's not the enemy that's winning, it's the apathy in the camps of those who know better, who are not engaged, and they're not involved. So I've always just raised hell from the mountaintop. You need to demand everybody in your life, and I mean your family, your friends, your neighbors, your hunting buddies, your bowling buddies, your barbecue buddies, if they're not members of the NRA and you can't shame them into joining, buy them a membership. I don't care if it's whether a birthday party, a graduation, a bar mitzvah, or a wedding anniversary. There's nothing that says love and freedom like an NRA membership. And if we would all just do that and encourage our fellow shooters and fellow freedom lovers to join the NRA. And I'm a member of the Texas State Rifle Association, the Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership, the Gun Owners of America, the California Gun Owners. Mm-hmm. I'm a member of all these organizations, but I use whatever bully pulpit, a bullet pulpit. That's what I have, a bullet pulpit.
I like it.
I use my We the People, Ted Nugent resources, and you know this, Tom, I've done it since the 1960s.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to fight back because the government is infested. Well, I think they're infested with a few less evil anti-freedom people because we just fired a bunch of U.S. attorneys, and God knows they were corrupt and power abusing in so many instances. But there's a lot of good. And we've got a good atmosphere and environment for freedom now with Donald Trump, but our job was not done on November 8th. It's just beginning. We got to get rid of the Lacey Act. We got to have national constitutional carry law. That's what the Second Amendment is. That's a constitutional carry law. So we've got to fight harder now than ever.
I saw a piece this morning. Now, it's 4 months after the election. This guy was writing, he says, this is a journalist. I am still grieving for the loss by Hillary Rodham Clinton. I'm going, and that, my friend, and what I'm going to do is transition from that to we have more than ever a new and potent enemy, and I do not mind saying the word enemy, to gun rights and freedom, and that is an advocate in the media. The media has become a total participant in the process and not a referee, if you will, in the middle.
Well, Right. You know, as much as we cherish and demand our Second Amendment rights, I think the reason the Founding Fathers wrote down the self-evident truths in proper sequence, they put down the right to freedom of speech and freedom of the press. But unfortunately, the freedom of the press is more power abuse, more corruption, more dishonesty. I'm glad, Tom, that finally the world has embraced the term fake news, because I've been subjected to it since the 1960s, where the media attacks me because I'm a gun owner, I'm on the board of directors of the NRA, and I eat Bambi, and they've attacked me forever. And the more the idiots attack me, the prouder I am.
There you go. I got a call for you. John's calling in from West Leechburg, Pennsylvania. Hey, John, you've got Ted Nugent on here. Throw your question at him.
Mr. Nugent, how are you today?
Great, John. God bless the Keystone State of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I spoke to you several years back when you were at the first time at the NRA convention in town. I was working down there as one of the helpers. And my question for you now is the same question I had then. Now, 2 weeks back, 3 weeks maybe, I read in the paper that you were considering running for senator in the state of Michigan. I hope are you going to do that? I hope so.
So that's an important question, because I know I perform my moral, intellectual, and spiritual obligation and patriotic obligation as we the people, raising hell and demanding accountability, constitutional accountability from our elected employees every day of my life. And the next step is if my family, number one, God, number two, family, and number three, country. If I got a show of support and the prod to drive me into public service, I would do so in a heartbeat. But the way that story showed up is I was doing an interview, which I do literally every day of my life. I do some type of media, and they asked me if I would ever consider running for public office, and I said I would consider anything to make America great again, to make America free again. But they asked me if I would take on Debbie Stabenow, the Democrat Nancy Pelosi hound dog in Michigan, and I said, well, of course I would. If my family and God and my fellow citizens pushed me that way and thought I could benefit our freedom, I would do so. But I didn't say, yes, I'm going to. And they reported it like, Nugent's going to run for Senate.
Oh, yeah. That's what they... Now, here's what I want. I want you to do it. I want you to get elected, and I want to see you up at the same big, long table with Al Franken. I would pay money to watch that.
I don't know if I could stop laughing, but I guess I would discipline myself to do so, because the guy's a freak. The guy's a bad man.
Yeah.
The guy hates freedom. He hates independence. He hates rugged individualism. He hates the Second Amendment, and I would love to eat him alive, or anybody who would dare debate me on these principles of the experiment in self-government. That would be a joy. I'd dance on his skull.
All right, you are at ground central of what people in the country, I think, still don't fully appreciate, to understand if they even know about it, which is an ecological disaster in the form of a population bomb of pigs going off. And I try to explain it, and I don't think I do it justice. Explain what's happened to this incredible population explosion that's going on.
Well, there's a number of dynamics at play. I'll try to give you a good overview. Number one, you're on the phone with the guy who I think holds the world record for the most pig kills in one day, and that's 469 out of a helicopter with my M4, which is another reason I'm so giddy all the time, because my God, is that fun. And we also delivered tons of pure, organic, renewable pork to soup kitchens and homeless shelters. So let everybody know that it's an extreme challenge to hit these running swine from a helicopter with a machine gun. But man, is it good if you practice. But the point being is that we the people can control them. Right now they're out of control, and I was on the campaign with the Director of Agriculture here in Texas, Sid Miller, and they were going to implement a poisoning program when I pushed hard with then Governor Perry and then Attorney General Greg Abbott to legalize citizens hunting pigs from the helicopter, and we were successful in that legislation. But now, after many years of testing, it's very controversial, the implementation of this poisoning program. But I'm here to tell you on Gun Talk Radio, Tom, I have reviewed all the research, and there is no threat or danger to humans, the environment, or non-target wildlife. So I hope everybody does their research as much as I have, because your immediate knee-jerk reaction is, oh my God, poisoning. They'll poison non-target animals, and it'll toxify the ground, and somebody that might eat a pig that was poisoned might die. I've researched that, and with the use of warfarin and the way that they do it with the blue dye in very controlled and licensed procedures, it is a safe and environmentally and wildlife beneficial procedure that, quite honestly, I'm watching my fellow Texans, my ranchers and farmer buddies, literally going out of business because their cantaloupes and their pumpkins and their agriculture are destroyed by these waves of hogs. But let me conclude the hog problem this way, Tom. Around the Nugent Ranch, we don't have a hog problem. The hogs have a Ted problem. We stay on them and we kill them year-round, and we're really good at it.
All right, wrap it up for me. Tell me, where are you going, where are you appearing, where can people come see you?
Well, number one, a salute to you, Tom. You do God's work in this media that is against America, where Gun Talk Radio and your television shows do a great job. So on behalf of freedom lovers everywhere, thank you, Gresham. You're doing a great job. But I would welcome people to come to my Facebook. We have tens of millions of people that celebrate self-evident truth, logic, and common sense. I'll be on the road all summer with Ted Nugent, Make America Rock Again 2017. And then the hunting season starts, so I don't think you have to guess what I'll be up to.
And the NRA show. You'll be there, I assume.
I will be at the NRA, the Nugent Rifle Association. Yes, indeed. I'm there to celebrate.
All right, that's coming up before you know it. Ted, thank you so much. Best to the family.
Godspeed, Tom. God bless America.
You take care. Tell you, the man knows what he's talking about. And people say, oh, yeah, that's just Nugent. No. You don't understand. Guy knows guns, knows hunting, and knows how to get things done. And, yeah, if you get to the NRA show this year, it's in Atlanta in May, late April. Got to get over there. You can see Ted. We'll be there. We'll actually be doing 2 Gun Talk shows from the floor. You'll be able to come by. We're actually going to do a part 2, the second version of the Hired Guns, our little Gun Talk-oriented rock band. Going to be there. So more details about that as we go along and tell you when and where. That's going to be kind of a fun deal. All right, so now we are open lines for you. If you'd like to join us, it's 866-TALK-GUN. What have you been shooting? What have you been taking out to the range? Have you introduced anybody to shooting? And if so, I would love to get that report. Also, I have one for you. A guy who, okay, I don't often say this, but I think probably the judge may have been right when he took this guy's carry permit away. We're going to talk about the whole, once again, should you get involved? You see something going on. You go insert yourself into it. This guy did. Boy, did he screw it up. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
And back with you, Tom Gresham, 866-825-5486. Just dial Tom Talk Gun. Get you in here. Don't go anywhere, Henry and Dave. We're going to get to you. I need some help, though, first. Is there a doctor in the house? I just got this from our friend Tom Wall. You remember he was talking about he was on the show recently talking about his wife, Mary, who was one of those listed by the Veterans Administration as mentally incompetent. Somebody one of the bureaucrats at the VA accidentally checked a box, and all of a sudden her name got forwarded to the FBI as can never own a gun again because they said that she wanted to have somebody else handle her finances, which in this case was not the case. Months and months and months of go around on this. They finally have gotten it kind of sort of undone, but nothing in the records so far indicate that she is actually competent. We'll see how that goes. But here's the interesting part. Here's where I need help from our doctor buddies out there. Tom writes, he says, there's something very interesting and important we learned while speaking with our primary care physician, whose nurse checked the wrong box on the VA aid and assistance form, while talking about the mental incompetence label caused by checking no on box number 27. Literally, lose your rights for life by somebody checks box number 27. That automatically forbade Mary to own, possess, operate a firearm. He said, and here's the killer part, please, let's not talk about that, because anything you tell me about that, I am required to report it to the federal government. So if you understand what I'm saying, I don't want to know anything about that because I'd have to report it, and I don't want to have to get into that, close quote. So he says he made sure we understood when we stopped the conversation immediately and moved on to the subject at hand. So anything you tell your doctor, Tom says, whether you own, possess, or use firearms, or anything you say or refer to about firearms, she must report that or note it in some way and report it to the federal government. If you are a doctor, if you work in a medical office, please call me. I would like to know, is this true? Are there requirements to this effect? 866-TALK-GUN. Get you in here. Line 2, Dave's with us out of Shreveport. Dave, range report, please.
Yes, sir. Hello, Tom.
Yes, sir.
Been itching for about a week or so to get in to give you this one. Work at one of the area schools here in Shreveport, and got to talking with some counselors, teachers, whatnot, friends around school, and ladies, and wanted them to get into shooting sports, and a lot of them became very interested with it, so we went out to counselor's house, brought out some shotguns, rifles, pistols, revolvers, and even got her young daughters into some safety training there and got them started. Brought out the family, brother, wife, son, and did some great shooting, set up some targets, and it was great to get out of the gun-free zone we work in all week and get out to the range and do a little shooting.
So how did it all go? Did everybody enjoy themselves?
Oh, it was a blast. The lady who is a counselor, she, single mom, was looking to get a shotgun and going to end up probably with a 410, kind of a smaller lady. And before my family and I left, she wanted to know, let's put it on the calendar for the next one. We are ready to go in. And as the evening progressed on, her and her daughter had to go somewhere after we left, and she reported to me the next day that at work that her daughter was quizzing her on gun safety rules, and she's about a fourth grader. So
I love it. Well done, Dave. That is terrific. It's just a case of, it's something that we all can do. People say, well, what can I do? Well, this is what you can do. Take people out to the range. Take them shooting. Provide guns and ammo. Oh, yeah, by the way, thanks for the call. Here's a thought for you. You know all that ammo you've been buying for the last zillion years, and you 500 rounds, 1,000 rounds at a time, and it's all stacking up? It's time to shoot it. I mean, otherwise, what are you going to do? Just going to live with a closet full of ammo? I mean, if you're like a lot of people I know, you're sitting on 5,000 or 10,000 rounds of ammo that you've been buying up. You can buy ammo now. It's cheap now. Cheaper than it was. Take some people out to the range and let them shoot up your ammo. Consider that your contribution to the Second Amendment, okay? I mean, really. Let's see. Line 3. Henry's in North Hollywood, California. Henry, I believe you have a bone to pick with me. Go for it.
All right. On 3/18, I got an email from Gun Talk, rising gun sales and gun porn. Now, I'm all for rising gun sales. That's a great thing. People need to practice their Second Amendment. The last caller had several daughters. If I were to go and repeatedly say those two words, I get in trouble. So I'm asking the firearms community now, from SHOT Show, from all the scandalously clad marketing gimmicks, to NRA Show. I want to see some change. I want to see that word and possibly gear queer eradicated. We're in a very tough time in our society, and I don't think these terms, when you banter them around, it's time for us internally to police ourselves. This is a Sunday show. I just can't go around supporting these people. And I was in the military. it was stupid when it started. It's stupid when it continued. And it's just these silly terms. And I've had the guys...
I got to say, Henry, I've never heard the word gear queer, but that I'm not much of an online gun guy, so maybe I've missed it. And you know what? Let me just jump in here. I'm going to buy in completely. I'm with you. We're not going to use the term gun porn on any of our mailings or anything anymore. I understand exactly what you're saying. I literally, on Facebook this morning, I literally removed myself from a gun group on Facebook because they were doing the whole either scantily clad or not clad women deal in there. And said, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't even want to be a part of that group. And I just removed myself completely from it. So I'm with you. I think you're exactly right. And frankly, as I think about it, I think it affects how we are viewed by the general public.
And basically, that was the number one thing that I've heard internally within the Second Amendment community that they want to see eradicated. There's a silent majority on this, and they're pretty tired of it. But I think, honestly, if you do it, Tom, you're gonna make the touchdown line. You will be able to defeat the screaming counter side that kind of results to what are you compensating for? Colin Noor came out, when he's the NRA spokesman and just totally mind-backed that whole thing. And
I like it, Henry. I think you're on to it. I think you make your point very well, and I appreciate it. And consider it done, at least on our part. And I would like to ask everybody else, let's get rid of those terms. Let's not go there. We don't have to do that. As Henry said, we're better than that. 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. I'm Tom Gresham, and this is Gun Talk.
It's really pretty simple. Your carry gun is a life-saving device. It must be with you. That's what the Springfield Armory XDS is all about. Small enough to carry, big enough to shoot comfortably, shockingly slim, single stack, with a 3.3-inch or 4-inch barrel, available in 9, 40, or 45. Highly accurate, great trigger, fiber optic front sight for fast aimed fire. The XDS at springfield-armory.com. That's springfield-armory.com.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
The Ruger pistol that started it all is now even better. The Ruger Mark IV has the same great look as the Mark III, but now its simple one-button takedown means less time taking apart your gun and more time shooting it. Disassemble it in seconds for no hassle cleaning. Learn more about the Target, Hunter, and 2245 Light Mark IV series models at Ruger.com. The Ruger Mark IV, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Oh, my. This letter to the editor in the Post-Gazette, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am deeply concerned that permission to carry a concealed weapon might spread by law nationwide. Bad enough that some states have granted this right. Why should any insecure person have the right to carry a concealed weapon when by doing so everyone around that person would thereby be less safe? It just doesn't make sense. Signed, Gloria Snyder, Mount Lebanon. Miss Snyder, you're concerned that permission to carry a concealed weapon might spread by law nationwide. Too late! It's available everywhere. Every single state in some form or fashion. All we're doing now is saying, hey, we shouldn't have to have different laws as we go state to state. That's what reciprocity is about. But as far as what could happen, oh my God, what could happen if you let people actually carry guns? Oh my God. Nothing. Well, good people are able to protect themselves for the most part. Now, you do occasionally have the occasional knucklehead, like this guy. Let's see here, Daniel Ray Brown. 2-day trial. Judge says, yeah, no, we're going to take away your carry permit. Here's what happened. 2 fellows who work at a place where they take care of mental patients, basically, or transporting one of their, they call them clients, one of their patients. And their patient gets out of the vehicle somehow when they stop at a mall to do something and takes off running, and they go running after their guy. They got to get him transported. Now, it just happens, it's in the story, it just happens that the client's white and 2 guys who worked at this home are black. Okay, got the picture? Run across this parking lot. They tackle this guy to get him back in the van. The mentally disturbed man starts yelling, help, 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 they're trying to kill me. Oh. So Mr. Here I Am to Save the Day, Mighty Mouse, comes up and pulls out his gun and starts yelling, stop, cease, whatever. Well, they don't do what he says because they're doing what they're supposed to do. So what does he do? He fires a warning shot into the ground in front of him. Could this get worse? Oh, yeah, it can. Because when the police get there, the guy with the gun starts just chatting and making statements, which, remember the whole shut your mouth, don't say anything, call your lawyer deal that you should have committed to memory? So he's telling them, hey, I saw 2 black guys ganging up on a white dude. And, this is the one I particularly like, I've been told that if I saw anything going on, I could use lethal force. Well, no. So, the takeaway from that is, don't be that guy. Don't be the moron that we talk about here. If you have friends who carry, make sure that they are up on the law, up on their responsibility, and do not take up law enforcement as a hobby. You don't know what's going on. He thought he knew what was going on. How many times have you heard that? Oh, it wasn't what I thought it was. Yeah, well, it often isn't. And if you're not involved, why should you be involved? I understand people say, well, but it could have been a lot of things, but it wasn't. Once again, not your problem. Call 911 and be a good witness. When you insert a firearm into it, you have escalated the situation. And you must live with everything that happens as a result of that, including maybe you go to jail, including maybe where no one was getting shot before somebody gets shot. And maybe it's you, and maybe it's somebody who's with you. Maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your child, because you decided to go get involved in a thing that didn't involve you. Man. Glenn's on line 1 in Maryland. Hey, Glenn, you're on Gun Talk. What's happening in the weird state?
Well, I live on the right side of Maryland, which is the Eastern Shore. So we're on the Eastern Shore. We know what's going on. The reason I called in, last week I was listening to your podcast, and you had the lawyer on about the case in Maryland. And we have such a weird patchwork of law as far as firearms go. Like, I was listening to the lawyer say that an M1 Garand is a weapon of war, and you can legally own it in Maryland, which is right. But you can't have an M1A, which is a civilian version of the M14.
Makes no sense.
I have a 1919 A4 at belt fed and semi-automatic, just a fun gun to shoot. We were shooting it today at the range. And when the law came into place, I called my local sheriff. He's a friend of mine, lives down the street. I said, what can I do with this? Am I only allowed to link up 10 rounds?
I tell you what, hold on to that thought here. I've got to hit a break, and I want to know his answer. Okay, we've got a belt-fed gun, but we've got a magazine capacity limit of 10. This is, as we call it, a conundrum, or in this case, a belt-fed conundrum. One of my favorite firearms. 866-TALK-GUN. When we come back, we'll find out what happened. All right, let me pick up this conversation. Glenn's in Maryland, and he's got this belt-fed firearm, and yet you have this magazine capacity limit. So you ask the sheriff, what do I do? Do I only load like 10 rounds into the belt? So, Glenn, what did he tell you?
Bottom line is, when he called the state police, they're like, link as many as you want together. It doesn't matter, which that flies in the face of every bit of common sense that there is. And the other thing is, you can't buy or transfer a larger than 10-round magazine in Maryland, but you can possess them. So, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So, and you didn't have to own them before the law went into effect. I mean, you could bring them in from another state if you wanted to. I mean, it's ridiculous.
So what do you do with that as a Maryland resident? And you're thinking, none of this makes any sense, but you know, I mean, honestly, it's unlikely you're going to get this fixed in the state legislature. Am I right?
Nothing is going to get fixed in the state legislature because it's predominantly controlled by Democrats. We do have a Republican governor, but he's not going to risk any political capital on that issue because he knows he can't win. Any veto that he would have would be overridden. So it's almost impossible. The other thing is, like an AK-47 in Maryland, 7.62 by 39 is illegal, although the Arsenal 5.45 by 39 is legal. For some reasons, a light contour barrel is for an AR-15 is illegal, but a heavy barrel is legal.
As you say, none of it makes any sense. It's bizarre. I don't know what you do there. Hey, Glenn, look, I got to run. Carl's been on hold for a little while. I got to get him in. Carl, I got about a minute for you out of Atlanta, Texas. Go, please.
Tom, this regards that caller that he said that the medical form was accidentally checked. Do you believe that was an accident? I think there's an agenda in the education and medical community. I think they're doing what they think is best for the society and what's best for you and so on and so forth. And I don't think that was an accident, Tom.
Well, you may be right. You know, my takeaway on all of this is if you are asked about firearms by anybody in your doctor's office, the nurse, the admittance person, the doctor, or on a form, I think it's time to just lie like crazy and just say, nope, don't own any guns, move on. What do you think?
He probably doesn't want to impugn his doctor and the nurses, because he has to deal with them. But I don't deal with them, and I think it's an agenda, and I think that I don't think it was an accident.
Yeah, you may be right. I appreciate the call. The concern now is that anything you say to your doctor goes on to a form. And we just had this report of a doctor saying, look, do not tell me about your guns. Do not tell me about your guns. I will have to put all that in. I'll have to report that to the federal government. And I'm asking, if you work in the medical profession, do you know this to be true? Is this something that's going on? Can you fill us in on this thing? And furthermore, do you care? Seriously, really, do you care if we lie about it? Because telling somebody that's none of your business, which is my first inclination, is to say, none of your business, et cetera, and the doctors for responsible gun ownership say, look, just tell them up front, look, you're actually not qualified to ask that question. You don't have any training in this, and I consider this probably a boundary violation. It makes me very nervous. If you go any further with this, I'm going to have to report you to the state medical board. But why not just lie? Why not just say, nope, don't own any guns? I don't care if it's the guy that you shoot with every Saturday at the range. I don't care if you're open carrying. Just tell them, no, I don't own any guns. Put that on your form. Is there any reason not to do that? Yeah, I know. We were all told not to lie. Okay, and that's a good thing, right? But at the same time, it's not a sin to tell a lie to someone who's not entitled to know the truth. At least that's the way I look at it. Now, I'll tell you what, you have an AR-15. Do you really know how to run it? We're going to be talking about that because there's a new book out by a true expert, a guy that really knows how to teach this stuff, and that's going to be coming up also a little bit later in the show. We'll talk about lasers, and we'll take your calls, 866-TALK-GUN, looking for range reports. Stay tuned for some serious talk about how you can get the most out of your AR.